at the end of the day, we do sort of, if we can, we need to sort of come back to ourselves.
This is great. I'm really excited today to be speaking with Amy Forsyth, the star of Inedia. Amy, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Of course, thank you for having me.
It is a wonderful film, and your performance is so incredible. Um, what is it that excited you to take on the role of Cora? It's Cora, I think it's
Cora, yeah.
Cora, yeah.
Yeah, I just loved the script as soon as I read it. As soon as I got the email and saw the log line, I was so intrigued. I just think that it's such an incredible um, backdrop to explore some of these themes, and I thought it was just such a brilliant way to do it. And Liz's writing is so captivating, and she creates such an interesting dynamic world that I was in from the jump.
It really is beautifully done, and unlike, I think honestly, unlike any film about these issues that I've seen before. Um, in preparing for, like, how did you prepare for a role like this? Because it must have been so emotionally taxing.
It was emotionally taxing and physically taxing, but I just, I think I felt, I guess, some responsibility too, to, this is a sensitive topic. And I too have not really seen anything else that explores this topic that is done in this way. And yeah, I think I felt a responsibility, but I have my own sort of experience with disordered eating and with food intolerances and things like that. So a lot of the preparation came from just talking to Liz and even just nurturing our friendship and our relationship as I guess as like coworkers, but just as friends, that was, I feel like, most of the process.
Hmm. You know, Cora is such a wonderful character, and this is such a difficult situation. And I would use the word complicated because of this place that she's in.
Yeah.
Um, I was wondering, in your mind, what do you think that Cora needs to hear? Because it seems like everybody wants to tell her something.
Yeah. I don't know if there's something that anyone else can say. I think it's something that she sort of needs to come to on her own. I think that's the challenge, is everybody has been giving her a different solution or a different answer for what she's been struggling with. And um, you know, it's kind of like so many people can tell you the same thing, and then somebody phrases it slightly differently, and that's something that clicks for you. And I think for her, it's just a matter of time and figuring out what she needs to do for herself and trusting herself um, more than the external sort of sources.
That's an interesting point, actually, that you say that about deciding for yourself, because we sort of, we just talked about that everybody has something to say. But I think one of the lines in the film that really caught my attention was, how is she to know right from wrong when she's surrounded by all these lies? And I think that's the sister that says that. I could be wrong, but how how do we do that? How do we separate that? Because everybody is giving their genuine and honest, heartfelt opinion, even if some of them are clearly misguided.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think we do have to just look inward. I mean, it's so hard. It's hard. And in today's day and age, we're just inundated with solutions or even other problems, things that you don't know that are wrong. And then you see that someone say, "Oh, this thing happens to me and that's wrong and I need to fix it." And you're like, "That happens to me. Is it wrong that my body does that or that my brain does that?" And there are so many external influences. And I think at the end of the day, we do sort of, if we can, we need to sort of come back to ourselves, and if we can sort of block out some of the noise and figure out what we really need. But we also, Cora is looking for community. She has turned in, she has gone inward, and it still has yet to sort of find a solution. So I think it's tough. You have to strike this balance. But she finds the community, and then, not to, I don't want to spoil anything, but she looks inward towards the end of the film again, with a new perspective.
And this community that is a fascinating one. But like you said, it's like you could see that she's looking for something, a safe place, and nothing feels safe. But even this community, which seems to feel safe, isn't safe. But it's a fascinating tension. There's so much empathy in this script that I think is so beautiful.
I think it's such a challenging thing, when for Cora specifically, when food is the enemy and she's watching food, she's riddled with pain and discomfort from this thing that is supposed to sustain her and keep her alive. Of course she's going to turn to the one thing that has been causing her so much pain. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, but it's a beautiful, beautiful backdrop for a film.
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, what in your mind do you think it means to empower someone who's struggling, like Cora? Because I feel like so much of this community is trying to do that. You could argue with the methods, but that's a lot of the language that's being used here, and is there a way to empower someone who's struggling in a way that is healthier than what she experiences?
I don't know the answer to that. Um I think it's helpful for us all to be better listeners.
Hmm.
I think that can be one of the ways to help somebody. And also asking, I mean, maybe not specifically for Cora, but I think we're so inclined to try to help and to find a solution and offer a solution, even if someone's just venting about their day. We're like, oh, well, maybe it's okay because of this, or your takeaway could be this. And I think sometimes just stopping and saying, like, are you looking for advice or any sort of solution, or do you just need to like be mad for a bit and you need an ear? I think that can be a really helpful thing too, because sometimes you just need to just talk some shit and get some stuff off your chest. We don't always need to fix everything. Life is hard. Human beings are complex. Like, we just sometimes need to let ourselves feel our emotions without seeking a resolution right away.
Yeah, I feel like and I feel like that's most healing for these characters is the times when they're allowed
Yeah.
to just feel. I think it's beautiful.
I think this community does sort of offer for Cora. That's exactly what she's looking for, and that's what they're able to provide.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Can you talk about your conversations with the director? Forgive me, I forget her
Yeah,
name.
Liz.
Liz, yes. And
Liz.
yeah, what is it that like? Can you talk about those conversations, like in terms of how is she able to coach you into this world?
Yeah, I mean, so much, and I think that it goes so far in indie filmmaking and in filmmaking in general, but um, to just to get to know each other as people and not as collaborators, like just as human beings, I think is so helpful. And I just immediately clicked with her. We were on Zoom and we talked, I forget how long it was, but it was long, and we just kept blabbing and we could have talked for hours. Like, we just really got along as human beings. And then we talked about our own struggles with disordered eating and the influence of social media and everything. But um yeah, she's just an incredible person. She's fascinating and she's funny and she's like funky and a little kooky, and we're just goofballs together. And I think, so much of this film, it does come across as this sort of but I think it was important to us too that this is not just a film about an eating disorder. It's really not. It's about the human experience and about life and about the struggles of being a person that's alive today. Um, but yeah, she rocks. She's the best.
Well, I'm glad you said that too, because like you said, I think that's what sets us apart from other films that are trying to deal with issues like bulimia and body dysmorphia and eating disorders, is that that's a key problem that's going on within Cora and but it isn't necessarily a film entirely about that, but it kind of is. It's a really interesting relationship um, to that in a healthy way, in a good way, I think.
Mhm.
Um, I just wondered from you, I know just as we were starting to wrap up, honestly, Amy, what is it that you hope that people take away from Inedia?
We touched on earlier about um, looking inward and coming back to yourself and what you need to do for you, because there are so many external influences and people trying to help. And while that is wonderful, and we need community and we need advice and we need therapy and we need all of these, and we need medication sometimes, it's also important to just check in with yourself. And I think another thing that I took away from filming this was sort of what they explore a little bit in the community, but just reconnecting with nature too. I mean, this film is so our we shot on Stowe Lake Farm in on Salt Spring Island, and it was such a beautiful backdrop for this film. And I think we all felt so just full at the end of the day from just being out in nature and eating whole foods and just living the way that we were living while we were filming this. Was We were really fortunate to have this beautiful backdrop. So um, I hope people are inspired by the the visual component of this as well, to get back out into nature and go lay in a field somewhere. Good for you.
Honestly, and yeah, it's a beautiful setting. I mean, for sure, it's just the like you said, the natural setting of the film is stunning. So honestly, thank you so much for the time, Amy. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful film.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye bye.